Aye. The most violent singers of all time were members of white metal bands, but Christopher Maurice Brown easily takes the title for R&B. I'm making this video because he's on tour with Usher right now, a Diddy apologist and overall creepy dude who's using his brand to support this serial abuser. It's impossible for anyone to take away Chris Brown's riches or cultural cachet, and I'm not under any impression that I can do that with one video. However, there are thousands of young men who watch my work every day, so this has to be discussed in detail. It's honestly the least I can do. I've discussed it briefly last year, but this one's really in depth. We're going to start from today, walk backwards, and list every single time Chris Brown abused someone, definitively or allegedly, or was implicated in a violent crime. If it relates to the same person or people, I'll group it together and address them all at once. It's a lot more than just Rihanna, even though one time should be enough, if you ask me. We'll keep a running tally on screen. This summer, Chris Brown was being held without bail in Manchester, England as of May 15th of this year until his court date on June 13th for striking producer Abe Diaw over the head with a tequila bottle several times before assaulting him further in October 2023. The attack continued after he was unconscious, leaving him with lacerations on his head and torn ligaments in his leg. Quote, this was a vicious and unprovoked attack by Brown and Inkanlulu in a crowded nightclub where Brown used a glass bottle as a weapon to strike the victim's head twice, end quote, Senior Prosecutor Claire Campbell said after the guilty plea per CNN. His tour promoter filed a motion to strike part of these allegations in April 2024, and that was denied. He pled guilty to the charge of a fray last Friday, posted $6.75 million bail, signed autographs outside, and went back to his tour. He'll be sentenced in October and could serve up to 3 years, but we know exactly how much time he's going to get. July 2024. While he was in the middle of dealing with the England assault fallout, Brown and his bodyguards allegedly severely beat 4 concert goers backstage after a show in Fort Worth, Texas on his 11/11 tour. Brown, Conway, Hood Boss, aka Amalolu Amari Akinlolu, and Cinco Siege reportedly surrounded Larry Parker, Joseph Lewis, Charles Bush, and DeMarcus Powell, and repeatedly kicked, stomped, and beat them. The unprovoked violence included multiple strikes to the plaintiffs' heads and chests, and ultimately involved stomping them while they were down. The brutal, violent assault participated in and directed by Brown severely injured all plaintiffs. That's a direct quote, by the way. They were reportedly invited to VIP and waited on him for 30 minutes, then got called out by one of Brown's entourage while they left. He allegedly yelled, "Man, y'all remember you two was beefing?" The lawsuit claims that Brown then replied, "Oh yeah, we were. I don't forget shit," before telling his alleged accomplices to fuck Bush up. Larry Parker was hospitalized and, quote, will need to undergo extensive medical treatment, end quote, that he experienced in the attack, including head injuries. The men filed a lawsuit against them and Live Nation for $50 million. That same year, the documentary Chris Brown, A History of Violence dropped. That doc included allegations that he sexually assaulted someone at a boat party. We'll touch on that shortly. January 2022. That alleged boat party assault incident happened on a yacht in Miami in 2022. The allegation was that she was drugged and raped in December of 2020. This was apparently a months-long situation between them, and charges were dropped in this case after the police shared texts sent between them, where she asked to see him after the alleged rape took place. June 2021. He was accused of hitting yet another woman during an argument in LA, according to police. But this one didn't stick either. No charges filed. Nothing to see here, right? January 2019. Paris, France. Brown and 2 other people got detained in Paris on potential charges of aggravated rape and drug infractions after a woman filed a complaint with the police. He denied everything. The charges were dropped, and he filed a defamation suit against her. May 2018. Brown and 2 other men were sued after a woman alleged they held her down and assaulted her in his home in February 2017. She claimed they used drugs, alcohol, threats, and guns to coerce women into sexual acts. The suit was for battery, sexual battery, assault, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Brown's lawyer denied all of it to TMZ, claiming it was a shakedown. This suit got dismissed in April 2020 and settled out of court. June 2017. Karreuche Tran is Brown's second most famous ex, and this was when she got a restraining order granted against him for 5 years. She said in court that Brown texted her shit like, "Bitch, I will beat the shit out of you, and I promise you I will make your life hell." She alleged that he punched her in the stomach twice and pushed her down the stairs while he was on probation for turning Rihanna's face into a Picasso. Tran declined to file charges at the time of these incidents. April 2017. Tampa police said Brown sucker punched a photographer outside of an event Brown was paid to be at.
Perfect.
The claim was that Brown attacked the photographer because he took pictures once Brown arrived. So basically for doing his job. We've all seen celebs snap on the paparazzi before, so this isn't far-fetched, but I see a pattern emerging. No charges were leveled at the time, but he was charged with felony battery the next summer.
You lose.
That charge was eventually dropped in 2019 since there was insufficient evidence.
You win.
August 2016. Your boy was locked up on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon after a 9-hour standoff with the cops outside his house in LA. This happened because a woman claimed he threatened her with that same gun, according to the LA Times. She didn't end up filing charges. June 2016. The same manager that helped him rehab his image, no pun intended, after beating Rihanna into Bayesian applesauce, a guy named Mike G sued Brown for assaulting him in May of that year. This was settled out of court in 2019. January 2016. Palms Casino Resort. A woman claimed Brown beat her and took her phone during a party. His rep denies these claims and said she was escorted out by security after having a meltdown. May 2015. He denied this one, but a man in Las Vegas claimed that Brown assaulted him after arguing about a basketball game in a casino resort. The same one from the last story. He didn't press charges, so I won't be adding this to the list due to hearsay, but it's making the allegations list. January 2015. His probation was revoked for traveling to perform at a nightclub, which is really minor and not part of this breakdown. The only reason I'm mentioning it is because there was an altercation at that performance, and 5 people ended up getting shot. Figured it was worth mentioning at least. He already has the record for the R&B singer involved in the most violent incidents, and I don't think it's particularly close. October to November 2013. I'll always applaud anyone going to therapy, including rehab. He was formally diagnosed in 2014 with bipolar disorder and PTSD, just to add some necessary context to this conversation. I'm bringing up his rehab stint because he got kicked out of that program due to, you guessed it, violence. He smashed his mom's car window with a rock, according to his PO, which led to him being committed to a live-in anger management facility instead. October 2013. He was arrested for felony assault alongside his bodyguard, Christopher Hollisey, when they fought a couple of guys outside the W Hotel in DC, according to the police. 36 hours in a cell, then the charges were reduced to assault misdemeanors, so they got out without having to post bail. He had to appear in court in LA later that year and got slapped with a restraining order to keep him away from one of the men he assaulted. So that's fun. January 2013. Y'all remember the Frank Ocean incident, right? Brown and his entourage reportedly taunted Ocean outside of a West Hollywood recording studio. Brown allegedly punched him in the face and threatened to shoot him, according to the incident report. October 2012. He violated Rihanna's restraining order against him by appearing at her Halloween party dressed as a Taliban member. Crisscrossing ammunition bands, fake assault weapon, beard and costume, the whole nine. Presented without comment. June 2012. Y'all remember the Drake fight, right? Brown, Tony Parker, Drake, and members of various entourages got into it at an NYC nightclub. Brown's attorney claimed Drake was the instigator. I don't have a dog in this fight. I dislike both of these guys. February 2009. Chris Brown brutally beat his girlfriend Rihanna in the course of a fight between the two in his car. She had by far the nastiest bruises I've ever seen on a woman's face in my 36 years of life. The picture still shakes me up, to be honest. Brown pled guilty to a felony, assault by means likely to produce great bodily injury. Got 5 years of community service, probation, and a mandatory domestic violence course. Surprise. This assault got his visa denied when he tried to tour in the UK in 2010. A UK Home Office official said, "We reserve the right to refuse entry to the UK to anyone guilty of a serious criminal offense. Public safety is one of our primary concerns. Each application to enter the UK is considered on its individual merits." He's also dealt with immigration issues in Canada, Australia, and many other countries due to his violent history. In case y'all weren't aware of that. The totals are on screen, and I want y'all to note that I've been conservative in this count. I didn't mention the chair he threw through the dressing room glass after the Good Morning America performance in 2011, just because Robin Roberts asked him questions about his assault on Rihanna while he was promoting the Fame album. This man took his shirt off and sent glass raining down on the street below. Uppercut! What was that? This video is intended to illustrate the reasons why I and many other people see Chris Brown as a recurring, aggressively violent threat who has displayed a shocking level of violence towards men and women over the course of the last 17 years, without a break. It has never been about violence towards one person, though the first time was enough for me to remove all his music from my playlist and end my support for him entirely. More important than anything is the fact that enough women still support him to make a sold-out tour possible in 2026. Men too. It makes you wonder whether that support would waver if any of these dropped charges or allegations stuck in court. Personally, I think the answer is no. There's something about entertainment that ensnares the human mind. Singers specifically. I say human because there's just as many men out there defending Chris Brown as women. Why is that? It's because they see him as some paragon of male virtue or aspirational virtue. Cars, misogynist lyrics, women, houses, clout. Those are always enough to get male groupies on your side that fight for you just as hard as the women who had your posters on their wall. He's like if the red pill learned how to sing and backflip. I know nobody who this applies to is still watching this video. You're probably already cussing me out in the comments. But at the very least, this account of everything he's done exists somewhere outside of an article. I don't know if this is the first time. YouTube is a big place. If there's one thing I'm absolutely sure of, it's that people supporting Chris Brown have very little overlap with people who change their opinions based on new information. I'm not trying to be nice to you. I don't like you. I won't be debating you in the comments, and we have nothing in common. I think that's it.